Hi there. I hope you guys are doing well. I saw this article and I wanted to touch on it. Return of the 1950s Housewife. How to stop coronavirus lockdown reinforcing sexist gender roles. Because these self proclaimed domestic goddesses are now stuck at home and they actually have to do shit and they don't like it. No, they don't like it that women are the ones doing the cooking and the cleaning and having to work from home. Well, if you're working from home, chances are you're on a laptop, so you're not working that hard. Get over yourselves. You'll be fine. In this article, they have a picture of this woman, and she's standing over her sink with her head in her hands, and her kids are doing whatever kids do in the background, playing, fighting, whatever. And underneath it, it says, "Don't let it get to this point," because this woman is obviously so fucking miserable because she's stuck at home and stuck in those oppressive, sexist, 1950s style gender roles. The 1950s weren't that bad, ladies. And if you think they were, we're going to look at the 1850s to show just how far we've come. Do you know what that is? That's an 1850s washing machine. And so is that. So next time you want to bitch about having to put some clothes into a machine that does all the work after you push a couple buttons, this here could be your life. Okay? In the 1950s, they had washing machines. They didn't have this. What is that? That's an iron. Now in the 1950s, you could plug that iron into the electrical outlet because they had electricity. In the 1860s and 1850s, these are the types of irons that you used. You had to stick wood in there, or you could use the ones that you stuck on your potbelly stove and waited forever for it to heat up before you ironed your clothes. Let's face it, most of you don't iron now anyway, so I don't know why you're complaining about your stereotypical gender roles. Do you know what that is? That's an 1860s dryer, and so is that. Women don't like putting their clothes in the dryer. The only thing they dislike more than that is taking them out. Well, if you're line drying your clothes, you can't leave them outside all the time. No, once they're dry, you got to bring them in because if not, you're going to get bugs and shit all over them. If you live in the woods like I do, there's a lot of moisture in the air. You're going to wake up to wet clothes, might as well bring them in. So think about that next time you want to not live in the oppressive 1950s because, well, they had dryers then. This could be your life if it were 100 years earlier. Do you know what that is? That's a stove. That's what you cook off of. That type of stove. It's wood fed. Not only did you have to cook, you had to feed it wood in order to heat it up so you could cook. In the 1950s, you had a stove very similar, if not exactly like the one you have now, that you would push a little button and the burner would come on. That right there is another stove. That is a wood burning stove that heats your house. Think about that the next time you have to I don't know, pause whatever stupid show you're watching on Netflix to go and adjust your thermostat. It could be much worse for you. You could be having to cut wood and bring it into your house. Do you know what that is? That is an 1850s dishwasher. That's how we washed dishes. Not we, I wasn't there. That's how I wash dishes today, though. I don't have a dishwasher, but that's how they washed dishes back then. And you ladies are complaining that you don't want to live in the 1950s because you had to use a fucking dishwasher to do your dishes? Give me a break. How would you like to clean that bathroom? Now, I know a lot of women freak out at the thought of having to clean their bathrooms. They hate it because they don't want to scrub toilets. Well, try scrubbing a toilet like that when you're having to worry about wild animals and wasps' nests and shit. Yeah, think about that the next time you are feeling oppressed because you're back in the 1950s. You know what that is? That's a broom. Also known as a vacuum cleaner if you lived in the 1850s. Yeah, they didn't have vacuums back then, but they had them in the 1950s, so keep that in mind, that you could vacuum your carpet instead of sweeping your dirt floor. Now, I'm sure some of you might know what that is. Others that don't, that's a vitrola. That is a record player. Now, in the 50s, you had electric record players. But back in the 1850s, no, you had this bad boy. You had to crank it up and crank it up and crank it up just so you could hear a song. Sounds like a little bit more work than going, "Hey, Alexa, can you play that stupid fucking Taylor Swift song that talks about man-hating?" Yeah. You don't have it hard, ladies. I wanted to show this picture because this is a picture of a typical family in the 1850s, and they have a lot of damn kids. There's a lot of kids and a lot of mouths to feed. So for any of you out there that are complaining that your kids want to have some bagel bites and you have to stick them in the microwave, keep in mind, that's what an 1850s microwave looked like. There's no picture there because they didn't fucking exist. You don't have it that hard. Working from home. This is what working from home looked like in the 1850s. So is this. And I could do picture after picture after picture after picture of what it looked like at home in the 1850s. Wasn't pretty, okay? It wasn't pretty at all. These were strong, strong people. So I just wanted to throw this out there, ladies. You don't have it that bad. And if you're acting like the 1950s were that oppressive because you had to stand in your pretty pastel little kitchens with all of your wonderful little amenities, instead of bitching about stereotypical gender roles, why don't you thank the fucking men that took the time to make it to where you had all of those comforts in the 1950s? Because I'll tell you what, you sure as shit would take that over this any day of the week. And that's that. If you enjoyed this, please be sure to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, share it with your friends. I'm Sag Novotny, and this is my war on women.